see Elizabeth Hicks, followed by Sumitha Raman.
Great. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the Public Health Committee. My name is Elizabeth Hicks. I'm the U.S. Affairs Analyst at the Global Consumer Advocacy Group, known as the Consumer Choice Center. I'm here to testify in opposition to Bill 367 today, an act concerning electronic nicotine delivery systems and vapor products, and I want to thank this committee for their time. Simply put, this bill will do more harm than good if passed. Enacting a flavor ban for vaping products will push adult consumers to switch back to smoking combustible tobacco. Sadly, 4,900 citizens of Connecticut lose their lives to smoking-related illnesses every year. Considering that studies have shown vaping to be 95% less harmful than smoking, ensuring that adult consumers have access to the vaping products they prefer will ultimately lead to fewer cigarette smoking-related deaths in Connecticut. About 6% of Connecticut's adult population uses vaping products, which accounts for about 200,000 citizens throughout your districts who have switched to a healthier alternative to combustible tobacco. Banning flavored vaping products will encourage these former smokers to switch back to smoking cigarettes and will ultimately lead to increases in smoking-related healthcare costs, which are already costing Connecticut's taxpayers over $520 million annually through Medicaid expenses. Additionally, if a flavor ban is enacted in Connecticut, then consumers will look towards the black market in order to get access to their preferred flavored vaping products. This presents serious concerns for public health in Connecticut, as vapers will be purchasing unregulated products that could be extremely dangerous to their well-being. In addition to endangering public health, pushing consumers to the black market through a flavor ban will also be to the detriment of many vape shops throughout the state, as their products will no longer be available. After already suffering through the economic hardships of the pandemic, this bill could effectively kill many of these small businesses who are already struggling to stay afloat. For perspective, Massachusetts enacted a ban on flavored vaping products in 2019, and the results have been disastrous. Since the ban has been enacted, there has been a massive influx of interstate smuggling of tobacco products, which has resulted in a thriving black market, lost tax revenue for the state, and criminalization of adult consumers who are just trying to make the healthier choice. Instead of copying Massachusetts' failed policies, I encourage Connecticut legislators to learn from them and do better for the consumers within your state. I appreciate that this bill is certainly well-intentioned, but it's important that we look at the evidence showing just how misguided a flavor ban actually is. If this committee wishes to protect public health, small business, and consumer choice within Connecticut, then I strongly encourage you to reject the ban of flavored vaping products within this bill. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. I see Senator Anwar has his hand up.
Thank you, Ms. Hicks. You mentioned that you're part of Consumer Choice Center.
Yes, sir.
Could you tell me that back in 2017, your company had received 3.98 million euros from undisclosed locations? Do you know what those locations were? And then you received another €1 million after that.
We received donations from a variety of outlets, some being individuals, some being industries, and other avenues. So it's a variety of sources that our funding comes from.
But that's a pretty healthy sum of money in one shot, 3.98 million euros. So you don't know it's like charity work that's going on that you think, or I'm not sure.
So people donate to our organization because we represent consumers across the globe. So yes, we do receive large donations from folks who are aligned with our vision and our mission. So that it would be from somebody who would be aligned with what we're doing, which is advancing consumer choice throughout the world.
Okay, all right. So the other question I wanted to ask you was, you said that there was a disaster in Massachusetts. Tell me about that disaster. I did not read that in the newspapers yet.
Yeah, so they enacted a ban in 2019 of a ban on flavored vaping products, which only encouraged many folks to go outside of the state, smuggle tobacco products back in, and created a lot of issues there. I submitted written testimony that has a link to that report. I highly encourage you all to take a look at that. It outlines very nicely all of the negative repercussions of this. And again, I really do want to reiterate that I do think this bill is well-intentioned. I think it's important to protect the youth.
I'm trying to understand your claim that it was a disaster, because so you think that if somebody went to New Hampshire and a small percentage of people, that became a disaster? I'm trying to understand a disaster definition.
Yes, Senator, I would definitely classify it as a disaster for the state of Massachusetts. What happened is because the consumers within that state could not purchase those products anymore legally, they would either go to the black market and purchase them illegally, which then it's unregulated. So now you have tons of consumers buying unregulated products. We know prohibition doesn't work. I know there's been other bills in this committee being looked at today, and we've heard about the dangers of prohibition. This is what I would consider a disaster for the state of Massachusetts. You're now over criminalizing consumers, adult consumers who want to have access to these products so they don't smoke cigarettes. But when you ban these things, they have to go out of state to do that. Therefore, Massachusetts is losing tax revenue from tobacco taxes. So
Okay.
it's not an effective policy.
We'll probably get pediatricians who would in Massachusetts at various institutions who would probably disagree with you, and they do know their source of revenue. They don't get lump sum from unknown sources, but I can tell you that looking at the background of your company and what you represent and what you do, I don't find you very credible. But thank you so much for your testimony. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Next, I see Representative Pettit.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mrs. Hicks, I just wonder if your organization has a view on how some flavors could be continued to be available to adults and keep them out of the hands of children appropriately.
I think that's a fantastic question, and thank you for asking that. Again, I think it's very important that youth do not have access to these products. That's absolutely not what I'm advocating for here. I'm advocating for adult consumers to have access. In order to prevent youth from having access to these vaping products, I think one very viable solution is ensuring that the age limit is 21. If you're under the age of 21, you should not be able to purchase these products. One reason that is so helpful is it widens the gap between where high school students and younger typically get vaping products from. If you look at the data, it's typically from either older peers or older siblings. Vape shops are not selling to 13-year-old kids. They shouldn't be. It's against the law. And if we increase that age to 21 and really enforce that, then we're going to widen that gap between those who can legally purchase and those who may be attracted at a younger age and who should not be having access to these products. So I think really enforcing that 21 age limit is a viable solution for this.
I don't think that per se is a huge issue in Connecticut, but I think it still will be purchased by people 21 and older and given or sold to kids. So I'm not sure how we avoid keeping it out of their hands. I would think we also need to strengthen penalties for the online sale of unregulated products is sort of a separate issue, related but separate from this bill. A difficult issue. Thank you for your testimony today. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you.